91 Donkey Lane is a magical apartment complex that contains immense power, but lacks intelligent inhabitants.
What is happening?
I'm getting texts.
Why are we getting a lot of texts?
People found out what we did.
Oh, dividing Mike Myers into an infinite amount of tiny Mike Myers?
Listen to 91 Donkey Lane for free on Spotify or your favorite podcasting app. More at 91donkeylane.com. See you there, you donkeys.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian here to tell you about our podcast, Bingetown TV. Our hosts include 7 best friends with a love for all things television. We cover a range of genres with a focus on fantasy and sci-fi, but also dip our feet into drama, horror, comedy, and pretty much anything we think is good television. We use the traditional deep dive formula for new live shows that are released week to week, but our calling card is our Rooks and Vets and Pitchtown TV series. Rooks and Vets pairs 2 of our hosts that have seen a show with 2 of our hosts that have not seen a show. Pitchtown TV is when we have a special guest pitch us a show by having us watch the pilot and trying to convince us to watch the rest. If you're craving more content on some of your favorite TV shows, then you should listen to Bingetown TV. Find us on our website at bingetowntv.com, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or wherever else you may find your podcast.
Let's party each and every year on Christmas Eve, where the fun and cocktail shrimp don't seem to end. Clark and Ralphie taking turns on the TV screen, laughing, singing, yelling with all of our friends. Well, it's Christmas, and everybody's gonna spread the holiday cheer. 'Cause it's Christmas. Whoa, oh, it's the best time of the year. Let's do fake reindeer.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Matt.
Well, we've kind of hit the end of doing the 2023 coverage.
Yeah.
You know, now it's kind of just like picking stuff out of our brains as they happen. But you actually grabbed a 2024 thing
I
to
did.
kick this off.
Dude, it's so funny because honestly, if you think about it, 2024 is already kicking off in January with some Christmas bangers. I mean,
Yeah,
we
there's been
got
some good
this.
Christmas things that dropped.
The new season of True Detective is set in December.
Okay.
It's hey man, that's 2 Christmas things that I enjoyed more than 90% of the Christmas lineup from 2023. So we're fucking rocking.
So I have to ask you what your thoughts are on the Ted TV show. Because I only watched this episode out of context, and I don't really know how I feel about it. I am not, by nature, a Seth MacFarlane fan.
Neither am I.
So
I don't
okay.
like Family Guy. I don't like American Dad. I don't really like the Ted movies. But for some reason, this show really fucking clicked with me.
See, and that is what so many people are saying, and I think that that's why I'm kind of confused, because I watched this, and there was not a smile across my face for a second. I was like, okay, actually, that's not true. There was one part where I was like, ooh, that's well done. But I guess there was something about this that just didn't work for me, and I don't know what it is.
Me neither, because this worked real hard for me. like this worked real hardcore for me.
I didn't write down too many notes, but one of the notes that I wrote down is like, this Bill Cosby joke is exactly what I expect from Seth MacFarlane's humor, where like the dad's like just watching TV and he's like,
and then there's old Bill Cosby.
Well, there's a Bill Cosby commercial and he's just like, I bet Bill Cosby doesn't get treated like this. I bet he's swarmed by women who love him and want to be like, it's like one of those things where it's just like so in the know and on the nose that I'm just like, God, this is a fucking Seth MacFarlane show if I've ever seen one.
I feel like there's not too many of those exact moments in this, which usually
I didn't see that many of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that was the only one.
That fills out Family Guy. I feel like that's my issue with Family Guy, is it's always has to be referencing something.
Yeah, it's never just acting on its own. I also think that there was like a certain point. I think I've hit a point where the Boston accent isn't as funny to me as it used to be. And I feel like half of this show, you know what it was? I really, really, really liked F is for Family, the Bill Burr cartoon on Netflix, which is a lot like this. You know what I mean? Like it's like grouchy dad, progressive kid, growing up in the 70s, all heavy Boston accent thing. And I was like, I think my problem was that this one just felt like there's too much in it where I'm like, what time period are we in?
90s.
No. I mean, I get that it's the 90s. Like, I get that
God
it's a
damn,
90s.
I don't think Matt watched this.
No, like I get that it's a 90s show, but then they keep it's almost like it's directly referencing shit from the 2023s and 2024. Like, I was alive in the 90s. Like, no one said the words like sexual fluidity in 1990. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where I'm like, I feel like the language, it just was like really weird. Like I couldn't make it all click in my head. And I also may have just been tired. I put it on at like 10:30 at night, which maybe was just like the wrong time to watch it. But
I think you're reading too much into what is obviously a dumb dick and fart stoner comedy show.
That's it. I mean, it could be that too. Like there was just a lot of stuff. But what I did like, one of my favorite moments is towards the very end where the dad, Matty, goes out and apologizes to Blair. And I'm like, this is really well done. Like, I do think the biggest problem I have with Seth MacFarlane is similar to something that I've said about Kevin Smith for the last 20 years, is like Seth MacFarlane does sincerity really, really well. And also seems to run from it like the plague with almost everything that he creates. But like when he did, case in point, Christmas, talking about Christmas, when he did that like Christmas album or that jazz standards album,
so
like
fucking good.
There's not a joke to be found. He just sincerely wants, like, I think that whenever Seth MacFarlane's sincere, I like it so much more than when Seth MacFarlane is being funny. And similarly to Kevin Smith, I think Seth MacFarlane is someone I would love to talk to as a person. Like, he seems like a genuinely good, kind guy. I just don't enjoy any of his output over the last, like, 20-something years. Again, similarly to Kevin Smith. Like, I think Kevin Smith is a good dude, and man, did he make movies that meant a lot to me, but he hasn't made a movie that's meant a lot to me in a long-ass time. And yet I still root for him. I still want him to, like, knock something out of the park for me. I just... My expectations that he will gets lower and lower with everything. Like, even Clerks 3 that we both liked, like... The dramatic parts in that movie worked fine, but the comedy is still, like, just not there. It feels like he can't find what the 2024 version of his comedy is, and it's like, motherfucker, just do the 90s version of your comedy.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the same thing with people trying to put the Muppets in modern day, and it's like, no, the Muppets should always feel like they're out of touch and out of date. Like, that's what they are, is like a forgotten act from vaudeville. They should just never stop being like out of touch with the times. That's a long rant that's going nowhere. But anyway, the plot of Ted episode 6 from season 1, Loud Night, is just about, you know the setup of Ted from the movies. Wishes on a shooting star that his bear would come to life. Bear comes to life. It talks like Seth MacFarlane, and this is now him in high school. And what it's like having this teddy bear best friend. What I do love about the world of both the movies and the TV show Ted is that, like, it's not like Alf, where this is like a secret that has to be hidden from everybody.
People just accept it, like, oh, that's just fucking Johnny's fucking teddy bear.
Yeah, it's just this teddy bear that's always walking around cursing and talking about shit. You've got two basic plot lines. Plot line number 1 is that Ted goes to church, hears the story of Jesus and how there was this immaculate conception.
Dude, I don't know how you don't find this hilarious.
And he was just like, that I must be Jesus. It's
the whole back and forth between him and the priest had me dying. He's like, I don't know, I sound like Jesus. He's like, well, Jesus has love in his heart. And he goes, 1 minute. Boop. I love you. That sounds like I got love in my heart too.
Yeah. That did make me smile. The I love you plays and he goes, you were saying?
Yeah,
but
you were saying? Oh, God. And there was a star. Hey, there was a star there, wasn't there? Yeah, see, I had a star too.
I wish I loved it. I wish I did, because I'm like, I should love this.
Really
You know when you're
surprised.
watching something that you don't like, and every single element of it, you're like, I should love this, and I
Yeah.
don't understand why.
Dude,
and
I have plenty of that.
Yeah, and I can't pinpoint it, because I'm
Yeah.
like, everybody whose taste in things I love and respect fucking loves this show.
I really dig it. And I don't like, going back to what we were saying before, I am not a Seth MacFarlane guy. I never liked Family Guy. I didn't like the other animated shows that he had. I didn't really like
Cleveland
the movie.
show is definitely the worst of all of them. Cleveland
Yeah.
show is really fucking bad.
And the movies, honestly, the Ted movies felt mean-spirited. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of it felt very mean-spirited.
I will say that this didn't feel mean. Like, I
No.
never felt, even with what the second subplot tackles, like, it never felt mean-spirited, and I do like that.
So to put this into context, we finished the show, which is only like 8 episodes. We finished the show, and I was like, let's put the movie on. Like, maybe the movie is better than I remember. And we got through 45 minutes, and I was like, let's do something else. And not because we hated it, but I have no desire to go back to it. Like, I don't. There's a difference in the Ted character, I feel like. I feel like in the movie, Ted, the character, leaned much more into, oh, look, it's a dickhead cursing teddy bear. Like the first two, the movies themselves. Where this feels like, it's just Johnny's friend who also happens to be a teddy bear. Like, it's just two dudes getting high and doing stupid shit. There's a bond between the two, and they care about other people. And I feel like in the movies, Ted was a horrible influence and shit like that. And it's like, dude, how do you not see how destructive this is? I don't see, if you were to reverse them, I don't see this version of Ted becoming, like, this family becoming who they became in the movies.
Okay.
And I definitely prefer this version. I will say, rewatching this episode this morning, all I want to do is go back and rewatch it from the beginning. It's got some great quotable lines. You can just turn your brain off. But I understand what you're saying, because I went into this like, I'm not gonna like this.
No,
I
and
don't like
I
Seth
went into
MacFarlane.
it. I went into it being like, everybody that I know loves this show.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
91 Donkey Lane is a magical apartment complex that contains immense power but lacks intelligent inhabitants.
What is happening?
I'm getting texts.
Why are we getting a lot of texts?
People found out what we did.
Oh, dividing Mike Myers into an infinite amount of tiny Mike Myers?
Listen to 91 Donkey Lane for free on Spotify or your favorite podcasting app. More at 91donkeylane.com. See you there, you donkeys.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian here to tell you about our podcast, Bingetown TV. Our hosts include 7 best friends with a love for all things television. We cover a range of genres with a focus on fantasy and sci-fi, but also dip our feet into drama, horror, comedy, and pretty much anything we think is good television. We use the traditional deep dive formula for new live shows that are released week to week, but our calling card is our Rooks and Vets and Pitchtown TV series. Rooks and Vets pairs 2 of our hosts that have seen a show with 2 of our hosts that have not seen a show. Pitchtown TV is when we have a special guest pitch us a show by having us watch the pilot and trying to convince us to watch the rest. If you're craving more content on some of your favorite TV shows, then you should listen to Bingetown TV. Find us on our website at bingetowntv.com, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or wherever else you may find your podcast.
In the darkest corners of the internet, a nameless, formless entity has been growing. No one dares question where it was created or what it wants, but those who have been entranced by its musings chant its blood-curdling name in unison. Horror Movie Night!
Find Horror Movie Night on your favorite podcasting app or at hmnpodcast.com.
I was also wildly caught off guard by the length of the episode.
All
Like,
of
when
the
I hit-
episodes are like 45 to an hour.
Yeah, I was
Wild.
like, what? Like, this
Yeah.
is a sitcom. This is the most sitcom of sitcoms.
Yeah.
How was this 45 minutes? Which was fine. The other plot that I kind of, I don't know. This is where, like, I have this hard issue.
Yeah.
Is, and maybe this is, we're going to get a little personal here.
Okay.
The dad on this show reminds me a bit too much of my own family in the sense of, like,
I can get behind that.
I am like the lone progressive in my family. So, like,
Yeah.
while I appreciate what they're doing with this, I'm also like, this is like, I am not a person who throws the word triggered around, but I was like, man, this is hitting too close. Like, this is like
I can
too
get
close to like sitting at the dinner table, not saying anything and just hoping that like the awkward politics conversation or the awkward like jokes just kind of like move on and we can like get back to being a family. And this episode is real heavy on that.
Yeah. And even when you get to the end during the apology, yes, it's heartfelt, but it's still very like, I'm sorry for offending you more than I'm sorry for what I said.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Exactly.
kind of where the father
But that's what I
lies.
like is that's real.
Yeah,
like I
that
think
is
that's
real.
actually that's like genuine. But
Yep.
I think now that we're talking about it, I think that's what it ultimately was like. I think that this show probably works more with people who don't have to already deal with that in their day-to-day
Yeah.
life as like a funny like, oh, they're so out of touch type thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just like, man, this is too close of a snapshot of what like certain family gatherings feel like for me.
So I would
to like
highly
find
recommend
it comedic.
I would highly recommend checking out like the first episode or maybe episode 2 instead. Because this episode really does lean into the dad's beliefs. The other episodes, yeah, he pops up and he's an asshole. I mean, just like he is in this episode, but
Yeah.
it's not the main plot point. Most
Yeah.
of the plot points, honestly, this episode, our two main characters, Ted and I keep saying Johnny. Is that his name?
I don't remember.
I think John.
But yeah, they're barely
Ted and
in it.
John, they take a back seat heavily in this episode.
They're like maybe 10 to 15 minutes of the 45 minutes of the episode. It's
Yeah.
way more about Blair coming out. And so question,
Yes.
so you watched it in order. Did the audience already know about Blair and Sarah
I
before
don't
this?
think so. So
Okay. So
you
this was
find
revealing
out-
to the family and
Yeah.
the audience simultaneously.
Yes. So I mean, you could probably draw
I'm sure
hints
you
to
could-
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was anything that was obvious. I'm not gonna. I don't want to spoil Ted. But earlier in the season, Ted and John want to buy weed because they've never smoked before. I can't remember the exact reason why they need to buy weed, but there's a reason for it. So they go to this apartment, and in the apartment is Sarah, and she's the one that's going to sell them weed. And then Beverly comes out from the bathroom, and she is actually the one that is the drug dealer, quote unquote drug dealer, is Beverly. So they've been around each other before. They're best friends, but I don't think you get like a full reveal until this episode. I'd have to rewatch
Gotcha.
it again to figure it
Okay.
out. But
No, that's totally fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the subplot with the dad is that he is the wife. His wife is cleaning out the basement, finds his toy truck from childhood,
Yeah.
is planning to get rid of it, and he's like, "No, it's my favorite toy truck." And that another part that did make me chuckle is he's showing how much fun he has with the toy truck.
I know what
and
part
Ted,
you're talking about.
And Ted and the son are like, "Hey, that does look like fun. Can we play with that?" And he's like, "No." And they
Ted's like,
get-
oh.
yeah, like they're like genuinely bummed. Because it does. He looks like he's having a great time.
And what
like,
is it? What is Ted go? Ted starts leaning into what the dad's
Some of the
beliefs
racism.
are,
He goes, "Can I
into the
play with the
racism
toy
just
now?"
to play." He's like, "You're right. Those immigrants shouldn't be coming here. Hey, this teddy bear knows what he's talking about. Now can I play with the truck? No. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. That got me. That got a smile out of me. But yeah, so as he's falling asleep at night, he stares at a shooting star, and next thing you know, he wakes up and his toy truck now talks, similar to Ted.
Yeah.
But what we find out is that his wish wasn't for the toy truck to talk.
Yeah.
It was for someone that agrees with him to be in the house.
Exactly.
And he was already, as he was watching TV with the truck and pretending that the truck was talking, he was having the truck not, like, you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
But he'll just be like, Well, glad you said it, Dennis, because I certainly like he's kind of like imposing a belief structure
Yes.
onto this dump truck. And dear God, the dump truck is
the worst.
So the absolute worst.
All of the worst parts of Twitter.
Yeah. As a toy.
In verbal form.
Yeah,
as a toy.
It's really bad.
Somebody,
and then,
I think Beverly refers to him as Truck Hitler, and I think you could probably say that. Yes.
Yeah. And then the big reveal at the end is that the truck is actually gay and has been projecting this whole time, which is like, what? I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I feel like we've gotten
throwaway,
to, I was going to say we've done, that is absolutely a plot twist that I've seen far too many times now. I'm just like, all right, fine. Like whatever you need to do to write this character.
I think
out
that
for the
was
next
one of the
episode.
bits and early on is the dad who's like, I think he's like, have fun with your gay cookies, and then tosses his scarf over his neck.
Yeah.
And Ted brings that up, and I think Beverly's like, it's always the homophobes. So that kind of comes up again towards the end. What a strange fucking bit.
I mean, like I said, this is not going to be, I'm not rushing out to watch this. Maybe I'll check it out later.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to be like a yearly watch for me or
No.
anything like that.
No. This is not a great Christmas episode. This is one of those moments where
This
you
is
were
a very like barely a Christmas episode for a large chunk of it. Like it covers like
I think
the
the mom's
Jesus stuff,
storyline is mainly the Christmas portion, and that's the mom wants to sing and wants her husband to come watch her sing.
That
and,
also that pulled my heartstrings a little bit when she got
a karaoke machine.
He gets her the karaoke machine. That got, I was like, all right, that's cute, that's sweet, I like that. No notes.
It's so honestly, the rest of the show, I totally understand where you're coming from. The rest of the show is very inconsequential. Like it's not heavy really at all.
I'll have to at some point. I'm sure I'll get around to it. We're recording this the day that the new season of Clone High just dropped, so that's top priority right now. Yeah, I got to get on Max and watch season 3.
This is the second season since the comeback, or is this the okay?
Yes. So I'll be diving headfirst into that as soon as we stop recording.
Nice.
And binging that. Dylan.
Yeah, man.
You're my best friend. You're my little buddy. You're my talking Teddy.
Oh my God. Matt, if I could wish upon a star right now, it would be to have you here sitting next to me so you can agree with everything I have to say.
Hey, buddy, I'm right here.
Whoa, now we won't stop till the big ball drops on New Year's. Have a happy holly, have a great holly, have a merry happy holiday.
"91 Donkey Lane is a magical apartment complex that contains immense power but lacks intelligent inhabitants.
What is happening?
I'm getting texts.
Why are we getting a lot of texts?
People found out what we did.
Oh, dividing Mike Myers into an infinite amount of tiny Mike Myers?
Listen to 91 Donkey Lane for free on Spotify or your favorite podcasting app. More at 91donkeylane.com. See you there, you donkeys.
What's up, everybody? This is Brian here to tell you about our podcast, Bingetown TV. Our hosts include 7 best friends with a love for all things television. We cover a range of genres with a focus on fantasy and sci-fi, but also dip our feet into drama, horror, comedy, and pretty much anything we think is good television. We use the traditional deep dive formula for new live shows that are released week to week, but our calling card is our Rooks and Vets and Pitchtown TV series. Rooks and Vets pairs 2 of our hosts that have seen a show with 2 of our hosts that have not seen a show. Pitchtown TV is when we have a special guest pitch us a show by having us watch the pilot and trying to convince us to watch the rest. If you're craving more content on some of your favorite TV shows, then you should listen to Bingetown TV. Find us on our website at bingetowntv.com, the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or wherever else you may find your podcast.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.